Hey, why don't you take your seats? It's fantastic for me to welcome Mark Greenwood with us, and we're going to give him an absolutely fantastic Aberdeen welcome. Come on, let's do it. Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Evening, everyone. You all right? Yes. Oh, it's so nice to be here with you. I like this church. I do. I really enjoy coming. It's absolutely fantastic. They look after me. That's not the only reason I like coming, but I always get really well looked after. So it's an absolute delight to be back. And I'm happy. Anybody happy? Yeah, we might as well as be happy, haven't we? There's no point being the other stuff, is there, to be honest with you? But I am happy tonight. But before I tell you a little bit of why, I'm going to just mention a new book that I've written. What I written. Is that all right if I mention it? I mean, you might as well say yeah, because I'm going to do it anyway. So just thought I'd involve you in the moment, really. But I've written a book, and I could go all humble on you. All right, but I'm not gonna, and it's not because I'm arrogant or proud or anything like that. In fact, I would say I'm the humblest person I know. So, but I've written this book, and I'm really excited by it. And it's taken me a long time to write it. 31 years it's taken me to write this. Not because I type slow or anything like that. It's just I've been doing this. In this coming January, I've been doing it for 32 years. So that's 3 days before my 18th birthday, in case you wanted to work out the sums. And so I'm really excited by it. And what it represents is, how many of you here this evening agree with me that life is a journey? It's true, isn't it? And becoming a Christian is a journey. Staying a Christian is a journey. And so I've written this book about the journey of becoming a Christian and sticking with it. And it's written, now if I might just say, for those of you who are already Christians, it's you I just need to chat to for a few moments. So everybody else, if you're just kind of on the verge of looking into the Christian faith, you can just have a little nap. Go on Facebook or something for a few moments, okay? But basically, what this book is, it's called Big Yes, Little Yes, Healthy Maybe, a new framework for evangelism. That word evangelism just means good news. So it's a new framework to help the church tell the good news. And it's all about the fact that most people, 99.9% of people, always good to leave yourself a get-out clause, who become Christians do so through a journey. And unfortunately, in the church, we've not been very good at helping people on that journey. So it's a book, really, to help those of us who already know Jesus and follow Jesus to help other people follow Jesus. So it's priced at $9.99, and you can... Now, we've only got a few here, because they're selling a little bit better than I expected, okay? I mean, I expected them to sell, otherwise I wouldn't have done it, but it's just this weekend, it's just been a bit bonkers, really. So we've got 3 of those left, but if you'd like to get one, then some lovely people are going to be on another barrel, not on a barrel, but by a barrel, just outside there. And what they'll do is they'll take an order for you, they'll take your money off you, all right, and you can pay by card, and then I'm going to send up however many we need to send up, okay? So that's that one. And then this is another book, What I Written, okay? I did get the grammar check, don't worry, okay? And that's a book called Now That Is a Good Answer. And this is not as new. In fact, this has been around for a few years. But I've sold loads of these. It's been really, really encouraging. And it's a book, okay, so whether you're a Christian or not, it's a book for you, really. It's a book to help Christians answer some of the tricky questions that people have. And in fact, they also have, okay? Because you don't just suddenly stop having questions about difficult things when you become a Christian. It's still tricky things to navigate that challenge your faith. And I always say to people, if you're saying to me you've never had any doubts, you're what I call a liar, really. No point kind of dressing it up, is there really? Okay. But also, if you're here and thinking about faith and you've got questions like about suffering, I'm not saying this is going to knock it out of the park for you. What I'm saying is it's going to give you something to think about. And there's only a few of them left here, but equally, they'll take orders for that. Anyway, enough of that. Has anybody ever said to you, do you want the good news or the bad news? Has any of you ever said that to somebody? Do you want the good news or the bad news? So I'm just interested, okay, who tends to go for the good news? Give us a show of hands. Okay. Okay. Who tends to go for the bad news? Oh, you're a bit miserable, aren't you? A bit ache. Are you all from Fraserburgh or something? Is that wrong? Have I transgressed? A little bit of local rivalry never goes amiss, does it? Who don't want any news and just runs away, by the way? yeah, I don't want any news. But it's true, isn't it? It's like, I don't like bad news. Oh, I don't like bad news. I only like good news. I don't want bad news. That's why I stopped watching the news. How many of you know? It's bad, isn't it? So you've got good news and you've got bad news, and now we've got to work out whether it's genuine because we got fake news. The amount of times I've been out and bought woolly hats because they've threatened a blizzard in August. And it's like you don't actually know what news to believe these days, do you? You really, really don't. Now, I'm a speaker, obviously, for a living. There's one thing I really, really dislike as a speaker, and particularly true this amongst Christian speakers, when they have some kind of life event, right, that they feel they've got to let everybody know and use it as a reason to make some kind of salient point. Hate that. So in the middle of June, I had a heart attack. I actually did. Now you feel bad for laughing, don't you? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was bad news. That's where you go, oh. Wait, you don't have to quite do it like that, but... No, so I didn't. I'm only joking. I had a heart attack, and I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a shock to the system. And what had happened is I'd been out walking quite a bit recently with my family, and I suddenly thought, I feel a little bit out of breath. Now, at that particular time, I was carrying quite a bit of timber. I've lost a bit now. Thank you for noticing. Really appreciate your encouragement. And so I was a bit out of breath, so I thought, oh gosh, I've got myself quite fit, because I used to do quite a bit of running. I know, but I did. And I thought, I need to get back into the gym. So I signed up to the gym, and so I went into the gym, I think it was a Tuesday, it could have been a Monday, but I think it was a Tuesday. And I signed back up to the gym, and I did, a couch to 5K. Okay, but I'm a bit of a fair weather fitness person, so I did it on the treadmill, isn't it? Did it on the treadmill, and it went okay, felt great, had that little buzz that you get. That was on the Tuesday, or the Monday, whichever one it was. And then on the Thursday, it was definitely the Thursday, this one, though, I remember that really well. On the Thursday, I did the second session, and I was fairly pleased, but I got off it, and I felt really flat. Now, like for those of you who've done any kind of exercise, you get a little bit of a buzz, don't you, when you've done it? And I didn't have that, and I felt really flat. And I felt like I hadn't slept for a few days. You know what I mean, Tom? For those of you who don't know, he's just had another little one, and sleepy don't get, okay? So I just felt really flat and horrible. And then that was at about 6:30 on the Thursday. And then at 8:30, I felt a bit weird. Now, I've had high blood pressure for a little while, so I said to my wife, Emma, I said, I don't feel too well, love. So I get my blood pressure monitor on. And for those of you who understand this, it was 220/130. Okay, that's bad news. That's not fake news, that was bad news. Okay, and I looked at that, I thought, oh, I need to go to hospital. So I said to my wife, I'm going to go to hospital, love, because I'd had high blood pressure, similar to that before, and they sent me into hospital. So I thought, I'll just go straight to hospital. Emma said, oh, let me drive you in. I went, no, it'll be fine. But by now I was starting to feel this weird sensation. I thought I was having a panic attack, and I didn't know why, because like I'm quite relaxed. I've never had anything like that. I wasn't worried about anything. I thought, oh, why is this happening? This is really weird. And I got this discomfort. But I didn't think anything of it. So I got in my car and I started to drive down to the hospital, which is about 10 minutes away from where I live. And it's a fairly straightforward journey. And as I was driving down, I was about 5 minutes into the journey, and I could feel this. It's what they say is it's like restricted, like an elephant sat on your chest or something like that. And it started to travel down my arms. I thought, oh, I'm having a heart attack. You feel bad for laughing, but you've got to do it. Anyway, so I got into Warwick Accident and Emergency, and by now it had dissipated a little bit. I felt really unwell and just went up to the lady at the desk. I said, oh, I don't feel well. I said, I'm either having or I've had a heart attack. Can I use your loo? Needed the loo, didn't I? Needed the loo. She said, yeah, it's just there. And then I came out, and by the time I'd come out, they took me straight in, and they did all the tests. And then it came to that moment, they've got some bad news to tell you. I said, what? I knew. They said, you've had a heart attack. You're going to have to stay in for a few days. We've got to investigate you. Oh, man, 49 years old. I've had a heart attack. Oh, it's my fault. You know, I've not looked after myself, but even though I knew it was my fault, it was like, oh, bad news. It's horrible bad news, isn't it? But then they said to me, a few days passed, got me stented up, so I'm feeling fantastic, feeling great. And they said, the good news is, though, there's good news. The good news is your heart's not been damaged. Your heart itself's in really good nick. We've caught it at the right time, etc., etc., etc. Oh, man, after hearing the bad news, the good news felt even better. Good news. Oh, man, are we not? We are surrounded right now by bad news in this world, don't you think? Don't you think it's proper miserable? Like, I don't want to mention the B news. I can't, I don't want to do it. I don't want to mention it. Do you? I hate, I'm fed up. I'm not being funny, but if they extend it anymore, I am going to kick off. I am going to run up and down the streets in my town and smash some windows. I tell you, I'm not a violent man, but I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge. He's like, no, don't extend it anymore. Don't. I'll check their passports on the borders myself. Don't do it. I am completely fed up of bad news. I want some good news. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why I am happy this evening. I am happy this evening because there's some brilliant news. It's not just good news, but there's some brilliant news. And actually, when you read the Bible, it talks about good news. And for those of us who are Christians, it tells us to go out and tell people about this good news because it's fantastic news. And for those of you here right now this evening who've never said yes to God, you're not a Christian. And by that, I mean you're not somebody who's arrived at a point in your life where you've said yes to God and said, God, I want to follow you with your help, and please forgive me for leaving you out and for embracing the death of his son on the cross for you, which I'll explain a little bit more about as we travel through these next few moments together. That's what it means to be a Christian. And if you're here this evening and you've not at this moment in time got that good news for yourself, I want to urge you and encourage you to get it this evening. At the end of my chat this evening, I'm going to explain how you can begin to take steps towards meeting this good news, receiving this good news, and letting it be a part of your life. Because do you know what? It is just phenomenal news. It really, really is. And I have got some great news to tell you this evening. And it's important because we are, as I mentioned, surrounded by bad news. And, oh man, it feels horrible. But when you get the good news, it feels great. A friend of mine had been wanting a Volvo all his life. I don't know why. It's not the car I want. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you've got a Volvo, it's a lovely car. It's just a shame you couldn't afford anything better, but it don't matter. No, it's from the heart. It's from the heart. Has anybody got a Volvo? No, anyway. But anyway, so he got this Volvo and he'd saved up for it, and he was so pleased that, I mean, like, it had everything on it, like all the toys, like everything, electric, inbuilt sat-nav, the whole schmazzy, leather seats that kind of adjusted by the heated steering wheel. I mean, it was a phenomenal piece of kit, and it was his pride and joy. And then one day his wife said to him, "Darling, is there any chance I could borrow your Volvo?" Now, listen. Don't judge me. I'm purely the facts here. And facts are friends. It's purely the facts. Now I'm going to relate to you. I'm not making any judgments. It's not me twisting it. This is just the facts. So he lent it reluctantly. He told me to his wife. That's what he told me. He says, backing off. And then like a few hours had passed, and he thought, thought she might be back by now. Shall I ring her? It's a tricky one, isn't it? How do you approach the subject? Should I ring her? He thought, no, I won't ring her. Just wait. And time went on, and eventually his mobile phone rang, and it had been with him all the time. Just on the arm there of the chair. And he picked up the phone. This is how it happened, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making any judgments here. Not coming from any bias. This is how it happened. Particularly the ladies, you need to hear that, okay? Hello? Hello, darling. Yeah. And his wife said, "Do you want the good news or the bad news?" "I'll have the good news." She said, "The airbags work." How good is that? Yeah, I'm not sure that's good news, are you? That's like a relative good news. No, it's not, is it? So the good news I want to tell you this evening, it's not a relative good news. It's like incredible news. But to help us to understand the good news and how brilliant the good news, we do need to understand some bad news. And the bad news is we live in a world that's lost. It's lost its way. We have not got a clue where we are going globally right now. We haven't got a clue. The world has never been so divided. This is not just the UK. This is not just Scotland v England v Wales v Ireland or anything like that. It's not just that. But we have people in the world who have never been so divided from other people. It is bonkers. And that's why I think it doesn't make sense for everybody to do just what feels right. Because that's what's got us in the mess. We are in a right mess. In every sense of the word, we are lost as a globe. And that's largely because as human beings, we're lost. We have no sense of direction or real sense of where we're going. And that's because we're disconnected from the one who brings direction to life. We're disconnected from the one who's got a plan, who's got an agenda, who's got a set of instructions that actually work. A set of things that are actually right and the right thing to do. And we can put a really, really good spin on things, but we're lost. I read this brilliant story recently of a large aeroplane's loudspeaker. It clicked on and the captain's voice announced thus in a loud voice, "Now there's no cause for alarm or panic." Now I'm not going to lie. If I hear that on my way home tomorrow on the aeroplane, I'm already alarmed and panicking. I don't really like flying anyway. I feel a bit uneasy with flying. It doesn't help the fact that as I approach the airport, it talks about terminal. That doesn't encourage me. And then I get through and I go into final departures. That doesn't encourage me. So I would be on the edge of reason anyway when I'm flying. I mean, when I'm in an aeroplane and I'm looking down at the ground, I'm thinking I should be down there. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to get there right now. But I don't like it. I'm not 100% keen on it. I really, really aren't. So if I heard that, I would be out of my tiny mind. I really, really would. But look at this for a bit of positive spin. We felt that you as the passenger ought to know that for the last 3 hours we've been flying without the benefit of radio, compass, radar, or navigational beam. This is due to a breakdown of certain key components. This means that in the broad sense of the word, we are lost and not quite sure in which direction we're flying. But the good news is, on the brighter side of things, you'll be glad to know we're making excellent time. Now that's putting a positive spin on things. I mean, how do they know? If you don't know where you're going, how do you know if you're making excellent time? I mean, talk about trying desperadum to find some good news. And I've discovered something. You can be lost and happy, lost and unhappy, but you can be lost and not even know it. And in our world right now, if we don't know God, the bad news is we're lost, and you may not know it, but you're lost. In fact, there's this incredible little sentence in the Bible that it says, "We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each has turned to their own way." Now, I know a bit about sheep, so I feel I can bring you some insights. I worked with sheep before I got into preaching. I was a butcher. It's kind of working with sheep, isn't it? Kind of working with sheep. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, I apologize at this moment in time. Sorry about that. But I did do a bit of research because I came across this sentence. So I did a little bit of digging around. I had a little bit of an investigation into sheep. And I discovered that sheep are like some of the dumbest animals on planet Earth. Honestly, it's like sheep get themselves lost all the time. It's like they're over here. Let's say they're over here. Now I'm going to do a little drama for you now, okay? A little drama. Okay, you're going to see my creative side, okay? So let's imagine we're here and we're a bunch of sheep, okay? And we're eating some grass, okay? Okay? Cost a lot of money, that drama school, let me tell you. And they have a little chat with each other. Meh. 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 Now, because I speak sheep, I can help you understand what they're talking about. My friend who worshipped is just going like this. It lasts a bit longer. A bit like one of the songs you sing. Anyway, right. Oh, no need for that. There were no need for that. That was low, wasn't it? I'm so sorry. I love the fact that what's going to happen at the end, we'll say, right, the worship team are going to come and join us. Nope, they're not here. Nope. He's going to turn to his worship team and say, you stay where you are. You stay where you are. Let me see you sing it again by yourself now. So sorry, mate. I really am. So basically, back to the talk, okay? So basically what the sheep are saying, one of them suddenly clocked it looks really quite a bit nicer over there. So he's off, all right, and he's over here. And like the ones over here, okay. The ones over here, they're going, well, what's he gone over? I don't know what he's gone over there. Okay, so I'm getting bored of this myself now. Okay, so oh well, let's go then. Anyway, look, long story short, you'll be pleased to know, is this goes on for quite a long period of time. And basically what happens is the sheep eat themselves lost. They do. A little bit like when you're in a Chinese buffet. Do you know what I mean? You kind of, how did we end up by the pancake rolls? How did we get here? I don't know. Don't even know where my chair is now. You know what I mean? I just don't know how I got here. So they eat themselves completely. And eventually, actually, what they do is because they're so preoccupied on just getting their fill and living for the now, they don't realize where they've come from or where they're going. And actually, they often can end up eating themselves into danger and eating themselves to death. So the bad news is that when the Bible says we all like sheep have gone astray, what he's basically said is we've just gone from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. We've no real direction, and we end up in a place really in life we don't quite know how we got here. We don't even know where here is. We don't even know how to find ourselves, let alone find our way back to some kind of sense of fulfillment. And you can know that or not know it. You can be happy and unhappy, but the Bible says the bad news is we're lost. And the great sadness of all of that is we're totally and utterly disconnected from the one who brings meaning and purpose to life. Now, I don't know about you, but I want meaning and purpose in life. And Jesus is the only one that brings real meaning and real purpose in life. But we think somehow by following him, it's bad news. By becoming a Christian, it's bad news because you've got to give up this and you've got to give up that and you've got to give up the other. Listen, we make sacrifices for all sorts of stuff in life. So why would it not be the same with making a sacrifice to follow Jesus? But when you make those sacrifices, you make it because you know what? What you're giving up is nowhere near as good as what you're going to get. So the bad news is, yeah, truth, we've got to give up some stuff. But the good news is, it's worth it. It's worth it. You see, we might live in a lost world, but the good news is Jesus came to this lost world. In fact, a little sentence in the Bible speaking of Jesus, sometimes it gives Jesus all sorts of different names depending on what it might want to communicate about him. But on this particular sentence, it simply says, the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. Jesus' reason for rocking up was to come and seek and to rescue that which was lost. Now, I concede I'm not very good at looking for things. Are you? I get bored. I get bored of looking for things. I say to my wife, love, where's the keys? She'll say it's on the side. We've got about 95 sides in our house. Love, where's my keys? The thing that every man doesn't want to hear. It's in my bag. Oh, no. Honestly. I went in my wife's bag one year and didn't come out for another. Honestly. The TARDIS is jealous of the inside of my wife's bag, let me tell you. I'm just do you get bored of looking? If it's not instantly observable, if there isn't a big sort of arrow saying, it is here, I'm not interested, are you? So I'm not very good. But Jesus decided he was going to leave heaven and come down to earth to look for us because that's where he knew he'd find us. He was so committed. This is bonkers, really. Like, I'm not being funny, but imagine leaving heaven to come to earth. How many it's about like leaving Aberdeen to go to somewhere else, okay? Oh, man. But Jesus came here. This is the place where he wanted to move. In fact, the Bible says that he rocked up to our environment and made his intentional place of living here on planet Earth because he loves us and he cares for us. He didn't stand from a distance and go, "Oh, this way. No, walk a left, then a right." No, he came down to earth, came and connected with us as human beings. Why did Jesus rock up as a person? Because he wanted to identify with us. He wanted us to be able to recognize him, to notice him, to see him. He came to this world to find us because he knew we were lost. Jesus came to a lost world. I read this incredible story. I still can't believe it. It said passengers on the 1910 service from Cardiff to Birmingham could hardly believe their ears when they were told that their train, already 40 minutes late, was stopping 7 miles short of Birmingham because the driver had lost his way. I'm trying to work out how you can do that. Driving a train on some tracks. Is it me or is it me? How do you lose your way in a train on some tracks? Because it's like you've got the tracks, you've got the train on the tracks. The train has got wheels that connect with the tracks. The wheels go around on the tracks. The driver does this. And occasionally slows it down and speeds it up. I mean, I may have a rather simplistic view on what a train driver does, and if you're an advanced train driver, please enlighten me Tuesday when I'm not here, okay? How can you get lost? But it's surprising how easy it is to get lost. And when you're lost, what you really want is not somebody who's just going to shout a load of directions at you and tell you which way to go, because there's a risk you're going to get lost again. What you want is, ideally, is for somebody to jump in the car and say, "Let me take you there. Let me drive you there." It's exactly what Jesus did. When Jesus came down to planet Earth, he was born, he had a life, and he went around this world being and bringing good news to people who needed it and people who didn't think they did need it. People didn't even realize they were lost, but he came to bring that good news. And he forgave people, and he healed people, and he brought value to people that didn't feel much value. He accepted those who had been rejected by people. He brought purpose to people. He brought love to people. He brought forgiveness to people where people had tried to judge them. I mean, Jesus is good news personified in every way, shape, or form. And tonight, you have the opportunity to get that good news into your life. All it takes is for you to say to Jesus, "I'm here. Come and be part of my life. Come and be my good news. Come and bring direction to my world, to my life. I open up my life to you." You see, God right now is calling you to put your life in his hands. Why? Because he's offering good news. He's saying, "Come on, give your life to me. It's good news." Yeah, it's a bit of a sacrifice, but it's worth making. Come on, give your life to me. Let me show you what I'm going to do. It's good news. So what he's calling you to do, whether you can hear it or feel him or not this evening, he's here saying, "Come on, give your life to me. Let me be your good news." And really all God wants you to say as a starting point is a yes to him. A yes to him. It's what I call a big yes, actually, where you're just throwing your life over to God and you're saying, "God, here I am." God just simply wants, wherever you are tonight in this place, he wants you to say yes to him. See, Ian shared with us a few moments ago about this brilliant news of a well being opened up in a village that had no water. Water doesn't seem that much news to us, does it? It's not that good news. You turn your tap on, you don't go, yay, every time. Because we kind of got a bit used to it, really. But for these people, it's transformed their life. It's good news. It's good news. And sometimes you can get a bit familiar with Jesus, but actually when you first connect with him, it's like, wow, this is amazing news. It's amazing news. When he brings refreshment and new life and energy. If you've never said yes to God this evening, why don't you say yes to him right now? Not out loud, just in the stillness and quietness of your own heart and mind. Let me tell you what it means to say yes to God. Saying yes to God simply means you're saying, yes, God, I don't want to live life without you anymore. I don't want to live life according to my plan. I don't want to go astray and live lost. I want to live it your way. I want to get your plan for my life. That's what it means to say yes to God. Why don't you say yes to him? Not out loud, just in the stillness of your own heart and mind. Saying yes to God means that you're saying, yes, God, I receive your forgiveness because of what Jesus did on the cross for me. You see, there's more good news there. He didn't just die so we could be forgiven. He came alive so we could live. That's good news. If Jesus had just died, that's been okay news. But it's good news because he came back alive. And saying yes to God is about embracing his forgiveness and his new life. And saying yes to God is about saying, God, with your help, I'm going to turn around and start to go your way. If you've never said yes to God, why don't you say it right now in the stillness and quietness of your own heart and mind? Just say it now, yes, God. Why don't you join thousands, many people in this place, many people across the globe, many people down through the centuries who said yes to him and discover what this good news really is. If that's you just where you are, say yes to him in the stillness and quietness of your own heart and mind. And my prayer for you is that as you say yes to him, you'll understand that he's already said yes to you, and that's good news. Yeah. But it might be that you're here this evening and you're saying, do you know, Mark, I'm not really in that place where I'm ready to kind of do that big yes, to kind of give my life to God. I'm not really in that place. But I wonder whether you might be thinking, yeah, but I'm willing to look into it, to investigate it, to have a good old look into this potential good news. It's what I call a little yes. And it's a perfectly sensible response. In fact, I would suggest to you that many people, even before they say a big yes to God, say a little yes. You may be saying it to God, you may simply be saying it to yourself, but you know you need to look into this. Afford yourself the luxury of investigating this good news, because if it really is good news, you don't want to miss out. So it might be that you're here this evening, you're saying, I can't do the big yes, but can you do the little yes? Could you make an intentional decision to find out more this evening? And if that's you, why don't you, again, just in the stillness and quietness of your own heart and mind, why don't you just say, yeah, I'm a little yes? And join many, many people who've come up to me and said at the end of my talks, definitely a little yes. My prayer for you is that as you investigate, you'll discover how amazing this good news is. Might be that you're here this evening and you say, Mark, I'm not really a big yes or a little yes. I wonder if I might be able to lay a gentle challenge to you this evening as I begin to draw to a close in my talk. And this is my gentle challenge. You see, I meet lots of people who say they're open-minded but don't afford that to the Christian faith. So if you're here this evening and you're open-minded as a person, you may not be ready to say a big yes or little yes, or maybe even thinking I'll never be at that place. But could I challenge you to become open-minded about the Christian faith? And if you are already open-minded, could I gently challenge you to remain open-minded, to keep in that place where you're willing to say, maybe there's something in this. Maybe it really is good news. And maybe just occasionally come along and have a little look or chat to your mate about it occasionally without any big hefty commitment. It's what I call a healthy maybe. You say, maybe there's something in it, but you don't let it dissipate. You just keep it alive. And you know what? I meet a lot of people who, after my talks, come up to me and say, yeah, all right, Mark, I'll be a healthy maybe. And that's a perfectly valid response. And my prayer for you is that as you become a healthy maybe and make that decision, that you'll discover whether it is real or not for yourself, and that you'll discover whether life really does make sense, whether it really is good news. It's been great to be here with you this evening. Just before I sit down, I've got a little booklet that I've written called The Journey. I've written it for people who are big yes, little yes, or healthy maybe people. Various bits will connect with you and might not connect with you, but the stories in there for people who've been on the journey. I'd love to give you one of those this evening, completely free, just as a little gift to you, whether you're a big yes, a little yes, or a healthy maybe. Or it might be that you're here tonight and you once used to believe this good news, but you've slipped away. You may even still have come to church. And can I just encourage you to say yes again to God? Because it's still good news. It might have become a bit bad news for you, and I'm really sorry and saddened that it has, but actually genuine connection with Jesus is still good news. And whether you're a big yes, little yes, healthy maybe, or yes again, I'd love to give you one of these. So this church is brilliant at helping people take next steps. In fact, it's got a little area of the church called Next Steps. If you go out of these glass doors and turn immediately left, on your left-hand side, I'll be there with some of these booklets in my hand. I'd love to give one of these to you. There's a group of people there who will help me, and we'd love to help you some more if you would be willing to give us your details, hashtag GDPR and all that kind of stuff, okay? We'd love to take that and help you within the context of this evening to find out more. That's what we'll do with your information. We'll just purely help you within the context of this evening to find out more and to take some next steps. So please let us help you. It would be our absolute privilege and pleasure. And if you want to buy the books, they're on the right-hand side. And I'm going to hand back to Ian so we can explain about the curry. Thank you for the musician still. He's gone. He's not come up, has he? Oh, no, he's there. I thought you'd done me then, mate. I was so impressed. But thank you so much. And thank you so much for this evening. God bless.